Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about a very serious and touchy subject, and that is debt. Stick around and I'll share with you the 3 steps that you need to tackle your debt head on, and also towards the end I'll share a useful tool to help you along the way. Before we start, if you are truly buried in debt and you're doing everything you can and you just can't get on top of it, I'd highly recommend you reach out and get professional help. In Australia, there's the National Debt Helpline, where you can speak with a financial counsellor completely free of charge. And I'm sure if you're in another country, Google will be your friend and will help you find the equivalent help. In our last few videos, we've been learning about the emergency fund. Our emergency funds are our trusty, reliable best friend in our financial life. On the other hand, debt is the conniving, evil, belligerent enemy of this story. By bad debt, I'm talking about personal loans like credit cards, car loans, and that sort of thing. I'm not talking about good debt here. Good debt can actually serve as a bit of a sidekick on your journey to financial independence through things like leverage and also investments in yourself, such as a university degree or even putting a roof over your head. Like buying a house, for example. A mortgage is debt, but it's not bad debt. I will likely talk more about good versus bad debt and also student loans and that type of thing in future videos. Sometimes with good debt, it can be beneficial to just make the minimum repayments, but with bad debt, you basically always want to be paying that off as quick as you possibly can. Having a lot of bad debt can absolutely ruin people's lives and cause a lot of financial stress. So with that, let's talk about the 3 steps that I promised in tackling your debt. Step 0 is to find the root cause of your debt. Now I actually lied, there's 4 steps, but step 0 is a prerequisite to all of these and is honestly probably the most important thing. If you don't fix the root cause, then you're just going to keep, even if you pay off all of your debt, you're going to end up in the same situation in the future. When I started drafting up this video, I was thinking of ways to show, like mathematically or in a graph or something like that, how bad debt is, and looking at it from a numbers perspective. For example, how much extra you might be paying for that brand new car, or how much your credit card is costing you. But when I sat down and actually thought about the problem, like the root cause of the problem, it's normally not a lack of knowledge. Like a lot of things in life, people know generally what they should be doing and they know what's bad and what's good typically, but it's more about psychology and mindset and habits. So for example, with exercise, to use an analogy, like most people know they should be exercising and they know what good food is and bad food is, for example, but over half the population is obese. So that's exhibit A there. Why, like, knowledge doesn't always lead to the best. Knowing something doesn't always mean that you're going to actually do the right thing, because humans are not always rational. We are emotional beings. Even an engineer like myself, I like to think that I'm very logical, but thinking back on things that I've done in the past and that kind of thing, we're not perfect robots. So we really need to be thinking about the psychology of things and not just the mathematics. Knowledge is important in these sorts of areas like finance, but it is quite simple to learn. For example, you can just watch all of my videos. But no, on a serious note, knowledge is the easy thing, but actually taking the actions needed for success, that's the difficult part. You really need to look within and ask yourself the important questions, like if you're spending way too much money on things you can't afford, why? Who are you trying to impress? Do you really need that fancy car? Really digging deep on why you're doing certain things can have a profound impact. Building habits and psychology and mindset and all that sort of thing can seem a bit vague and wishy-washy, but they are extremely important. I will make videos on those topics in the future, so if you haven't already, you should subscribe. Step 1 is to assess your current situation. You need to bring the problem into the light and actually face it head on. If you just let it fester in the back of your mind and put it in the too hard basket, it's going to grow. It's not going to shrink and solve itself. It's going to grow, just like anything in life. The first step towards solving a problem is often the most difficult, but I can guarantee you it will be worth it. This step involves getting a bit more organized if you're not already, and trying to figure out or finding out your exact interest rates and amounts of each debt you have, and also the minimum monthly repayment. This can either be jotting it down on paper or in a spreadsheet, but you will need these numbers for step 3. Step 2 is to decrease your expenses and increase your income. This is a very obvious step, but it's important, so I have to include it. If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get the same results. There's that quote that's attributed to Einstein, but he didn't say it. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. The uncomfortable truth to all of this is that you're going to have to make some sacrifices in order to get out of the situation that you're in. This will likely include decreasing the amount that you spend on your wants and luxury items, things that aren't essential. The boomer telling you to stop eating avocado toast might actually be right in this scenario. It goes without saying, but increasing your income will also help drastically in paying off your debt. Obviously, you'll have more money to pay down those loans the more that you earn. So it's pretty obvious, but I had to put it in here. How to increase income and also how to reduce your expenses will be the topic of future videos. So I sound like a broken record, but yeah, subscribe to watch those future videos. Step 3 is to pay off your debt systematically. There are 2 main approaches to paying off debt. Number 1 is the Snowball method, and number 2 is the avalanche method. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't really understand the analogies here, but we don't really need them to understand the concepts. They're quite simple. The Snowball method is where you pay off your debt in order of smallest to largest by amount. The benefit of this method is that you get those small wins along the way, and it's psychologically maybe a bit more motivating than the alternative method, which is the avalanche method. This involves paying off your debts in order of interest rate. So paying off your highest interest rate loan or debt initially, and then working your way down. Mathematically, this is going to be the optimal method, but as I mentioned earlier, we are not robots and psychology does matter. So this will depend on your personality type and who you are as a person, which method to use. But the tool I'll give you in a second will help you decide between these 2 approaches and give you all the information you need to make that decision. Alrighty guys, we're over at the desk here, got my laptop. I'm going to share with you a tool from Vertex42, who I've never heard of. And yeah, basically it's one thing to know what these different methods are, but it's another to actually see them implemented, compare them, and actually use them. So we'll jump right in. So I will put this link in the description, but I will warn you, this website looks a little bit sketchy, but I assure you it is not. You will be able to download, first you go to this website, scroll down, go Excel or Google Sheets, and then just download it. No viruses so far, so you should be fine. This is what the actual spreadsheet looks like here. They've pre-populated it with some examples for my convenience. And I won't give an in-depth tutorial or anything because it's reasonably straightforward, but essentially you can go in here, you can say how much money you have to actually pay down your debts, like extra on top of the minimum repayments. And then you can choose your strategy, Snowball or Avalanche, and you can compare total interest paid. So Avalanche method here is 8.5K interest paid, whereas Snowball is 10.5, and it'll take a bit longer too. So it's really good to compare those things, have everything all in one spot too, so it's not this massive problem in your mind. You can manage it a bit easier. The other thing that's really cool is it tells you these are all your monthly payments until you're completely debt free. And a powerful feature is you can actually put in a one-off payment. Say you get a bonus at work or something of $1,000, you can put that in and it will automatically populate. So it's a really great tool, I think, for people that want to tackle their debt in a systematic way. So yeah, that's it. One other thing I forgot to mention is there's a bit of a help page here with a few tips, and also it's a reasonably well-known calculator, popular calculator, so you should be able to just Google, if you can't figure something out, just Google it. Or I'll also, I found a tutorial online too of this lady going through it, so might share that as well. I know we're still covering just the basics in these first few videos, the basics of financial independence, but I will eventually talk about a little bit more nuanced and interesting topics. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But it's important to talk about these fundamentals first. If someone watches this video and they didn't know any of the information beforehand, it could honestly change their life. That's a big call, I guess. But yeah, learning about these basics can have a massive impact on people's lives. As I mentioned at the start of the video though, it's not all about knowledge. This video might motivate somebody to actually take action and tackle the problem as opposed to ignore it. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm making these videos, is to remind you of things that you already know, a lot of you. One thing I've been thinking a lot about lately is how it's not usually the first time that you hear something that you actually integrate it and take action based on that. It's often a process of hearing things and being exposed to certain ideas multiple times before you sort of integrate it into your own thinking. And this is getting a bit off topic, but yeah, it's just interesting how it's not all about learning something for the first time. It can be about hearing something explained in a different way, or even just being reminded of something that is important. Hopefully through these videos I can be some of that exposure for some of you, and also for myself, reminding myself of these things, and we can grow together and improve in all areas of life. That's me done for today, guys. If you haven't already, headbutt that like button. Comment your favorite Einstein quote that he probably didn't say, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much, guys. Cheers.